The Tyrannosaurus rex was the top predator of the Cretaceous period. But did you know there was one dinosaur it feared? It was called the Ankylosaurus. This dinosaur was so well armored that it could scare away even the fierce T.rex. The discovery. Let's go back to the early 1900s in Montana, USA, at the Hell Creek Formation. This is where the first Ankylosaurus was found, a discovery that stunned the paleontologists of the time. They found a mix of bones, teeth, and osteoderms. That's a fancy word for bony plates that were part of its armor. Because of its heavy armor, the discoverer named it Ankylosaurus, which means fused lizard. The specific type they found was even called magnavent, because it had a big belly. Another fascinating discovery was made way up in Alberta, Canada, at the Scallard Formation. Back in 1910, Barnum Brown, who's famous for finding the first T.rex, dug up a complete Ankylosaurus skull and its first ever tail club. And recent digs in Chile and Morocco have turned up early types of Ankylosaurus-like dinosaurs. This tells us these armored giants were all over the ancient supercontinent of Pangaea during the Jurassic period. The Ankylosaurus was so unique that scientists had to create a whole new group for it and similar dinosaurs. They called this group the Ankylosauria. These dinosaurs were herbivores, meaning they ate plants, not other animals. They had massive triangular skulls, short necks, stiff backs, and broad bodies completely covered with these tough bony shields. This armor was their superpower. But what could possibly make a fearsome T.rex think twice before attacking? Why was T.rex scared of Ankylosaurus? Imagine you're a T.rex looking for your next meal, and you come across an Ankylosaurus. This dinosaur is not just big, it's like a walking tank covered from head to toe in armor. Even better, it had a massive club at the end of its tail. So if the T.rex tried to attack it, it would have to deal with that swinging club. Not an easy target, right? That's probably why we haven't found any Ankylosaurus fossils with T.rex bite marks. It seems even a T.rex might think twice before messing with this armored beast. Now, think about how different the T.rex is from the Ankylosaurus. The T.rex was tall, with powerful legs and a huge tooth-filled mouth that could bite down with incredible force. It was built to chase and catch quick meals, using its strength and speed. On the flip side, the Ankylosaurus was the complete opposite. It wasn't fast or aggressive. Instead, it was heavily armored, with thick, bony plates and that big club on its tail for defense. The Ankylosaurus didn't need to run or hunt to survive. It just needed to swing its clubbed tail and scare away the predators. But a T.rex attacking an Ankylosaurus was risky. If the T.rex didn't get a fatal bite in right away, it could end up with a broken jaw or worse, thanks to a swing from that tail club of an Ankylosaurus. For a predator that relies on its biting ability to eat, any injury to the mouth could be a death sentence. That's a big reason the T.rex would think twice before picking a fight with such a well-protected creature. So, in this ancient world of eat or be eaten, sometimes the best meal for a T.rex was the one that didn't fight back quite so hard. But how big was the Ankylosaurus really? Keep watching to find out just how massive and tough this walking tank was. Unpacking the mighty Ankylosaurus. The Ankylosaurus was no small fry. It stretched up to 33 feet long and stood about 5 feet 7 inches tall at the hips. Now, these guys were heavy, weighing in between 5 and 8 tons. That's even heavier than the massive Triceratops that lived at the same time. But some folks get confused because the Triceratops and another giant, the Spinosaurus, look bigger. But the Ankylosaurus was so heavy because it was built like a tank. It had a very dense body, with bones that were short, broad, and super thick. So why was the Ankylosaurus so heavy? The answer is simple. This dinosaur was decked out in a suit of bony armor that covered more than half its body. Picture yourself wearing a coat made entirely of thick, heavy plates. That's kind of what it was like for the Ankylosaurus. These bony plates, called osteoderms, was embedded in its skin from its snout all the way to its tail, and the armor was really tough. The plates varied in size and were likely arranged to protect the most vulnerable areas, like around the neck. No wonder nothing, not even a T-Rex, would dare to mess with it. But what's interesting is that no complete armor has ever been found still attached to a fossil. So scientists are still piecing together how exactly these plates fit on the Ankylosaurus. And the Ankylosaurus armor was quite unique. Unlike other ankylosaurs whose armor was solid, the Ankylosaurus has osteoderms that were thinner and hollow on the underside. This might sound like a weakness, but it's actually a clever design. This hollow structure allowed for a dome-like shape, making the plates stronger and more flexible. This meant that the Ankylosaurus could withstand heavy pressure and crushing bites, like those from a T-Rex, without its armor cracking. The Ankylosaurus wasn't just tough, it was nearly bulletproof. Underneath its tough armor, it had layers of really thick collagen fibers, thicker than any you'd find in armored animals today, like crocodiles and armadillos. These fibers weren't just there for show. They helped spread out any force from a blow, absorbed shocks like a sponge, and even helped the dinosaur grow and repair itself. Imagine wearing a coat that's not only super heavy, but also helps you heal. This setup made the Ankylosaurus one of the toughest creatures roaming North America back in the Cretaceous period. Some scientists even think its armor was so strong it could have stopped bullets. And it wasn't all about defense. The Ankylosaurus had a serious weapon, its tail club. It was built with large, heavy, bony plates, almost like having a giant baseball bat attached to its backside. This club could be over 22 inches wide and weigh about 50 pounds. Thanks to strong muscles and stretchy tendons in its tail, this dinosaur could whip its club around super fast, hitting with the force of a small car crash. Now, you might wonder, who was getting whacked by that tail club? While it's clear it could do some serious damage, scientists still debate about how the Ankylosaurus used this weapon. Some think it might have been for fighting other Ankylosaurus for the top position in their group, but most agree that it would have definitely used its tail if a T-Rex or another predator tried to sneak up on it. Imagine a T-Rex thinking about attacking, but then seeing that massive club swing around. No, thank you. But sadly, young Ankylosaurus weren't as tough as their parents. When they were little, their armor and tail clubs weren't fully developed, so they were much easier targets for predators. They couldn't smash bones with their clubs or fend off big attacks with their armor. To cope with this, young Ankylosaurus often stuck together in groups. But this strategy might not have stopped a fully grown T-Rex. So, are you curious about how the Ankylosaurus managed to survive in such a wild world? The life and survival of Ankylosaurus. As they grew up, Ankylosaurus tended to go solo. Unlike many other dinosaurs that moved in herds, adult Ankylosaurus relied on their heavy-duty armor and clubs for protection. They weren't the kind of dinosaurs that changed the landscape or impacted their environment like some plant-eating giants that roam and reshape forests and plains by eating loads of vegetation. Despite their tough exterior, Ankylosaurus had a big appetite for greens. They used their low-slung bodies and wide mouths to munch on ferns and low shrubs, which did not have a lot of calories. Because of this, an adult Ankylosaurus needed to eat about 130 pounds of plants every day, similar to what a big elephant eats. They might have also enjoyed some fruits or insects that got caught in the plants. When it came to mealtime, the Ankylosaurus had some neat tricks up its sleeve. Their teeth were special. They had bumps and points that made it easy to slice up plants. Plus, they had a slim beak that was just right for peeling leaves off branches. Inside, the Ankylosaurus had a special way of digesting plants. They used a process called hindgut fermentation, which breaks down tough plant fibers with the help of bacteria. Think of it like a fermentation tank inside their big belly, similar to what rhinos have today. This is why Ankylosaurus had such a broad belly. They also had an amazing sense of smell. This was all thanks to their big olfactory bulbs, which are parts of the brain that handle smells. Although they didn't have great eyesight, their strong sense of smell helped them stay safe and find what they needed to eat. This dinosaur used its nose much like we might use our eyes to make sense of the world around it. For example, when it came to eating, the Ankylosaurus could tell which plants were good to eat and which ones to pass up. Their sense of smell also kept them alert to danger. Even if a predator was still out of sight, the Ankylosaurus could smell it from a distance and get ready to defend itself. This was important for the survival of the younger dinosaurs that hadn't fully grown their protective armor yet. As for speed, you cannot expect a chase scene with an Ankylosaurus. They were slow movers, likely only as fast as a walking human, with just short bursts of speed when absolutely necessary. But with their tough armor and powerful tail club, they didn't need to be fast to stay safe and thrive. Now, what exactly was the world like where the Ankylosaurus roamed? Environment of the Ankylosaurus. The Ankylosaurus lived in northwestern America and Alberta, Canada. It loved forested floodplains with subtropical climates, such as the famous Hell Creek Formation. These areas were full of life, making them the perfect home for Ankylosaurus. In the lush, vibrant world of the Hell Creek Formation, the Ankylosaurus lived alongside famous dinosaurs like the T.rex, Triceratops, and Edmontosaurus. But it wasn't just dinosaurs keeping him company. There were also loads of other creatures around, like insects, frogs, fish, turtles, lizards, snakes, crocodiles, and even some early mammals. This place was so diverse thanks to the big rivers and rich plant life, including flowers, cone-bearing trees, ferns, mosses, shrubs, and vines. Now, the environment in Hell Creek was always buzzing with activity. We're talking about monsoons, tropical storms, and even the occasional forest fire. All these elements mixed together made sure there was never a dull moment. This kind of dynamic setting was perfect for the Ankylosaurus to thrive from about 68 to 66 million years ago. It's pretty cool to think about how all these different factors came together to create such a lively place for the Ankylosaurus and its neighbors. But despite this bustling environment, Ankylosaurus fossils are pretty rare, making up only about 1% of finds in Hell Creek. This suggests they didn't have many babies and weren't the most social creatures around. Their smaller numbers might have played a part in their extinction during the KT extinction event. Plus, being slower movers, they probably struggled to escape the fast-moving fires caused by the asteroid impact, leading to their ultimate demise. But the end of the dinosaurs wasn't the end for all giant reptiles. After the KT extinction event, nature still had a few surprises left. As dinosaurs like the Ankylosaurus exited the stage, a new group of reptiles called the Sucidae stepped in. They became some of the largest and most dangerous creatures in the post-dinosaur world. Life kept evolving, and the planet witnessed yet another chapter of change and adaptation, reminding us that the story of life on Earth is always moving forward. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of the Ankylosaurus and the T.rex. If you've enjoyed learning about these incredible dinosaurs, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. See you next time for more amazing dinosaur discoveries.